quickly have a look at whether we are actually fine. Okay, just give it a few more seconds. YouTube is on, and Twitch, tick tick tick, come on. For some reason Twitch is always the one that's a little bit behind, but it's okay. We can afford to wait for a little while, a few seconds more. Should be fine. Oh, there we go, and we are live. I was trying to figure out how long it is, because I think it's like maybe 30 odd seconds till everything sort of goes online. But anyway, hello, welcome to this update. The idea here is to take bits within not just the Cardano ecosystem, but just the crypto environment in general, stuff which kind of fall under like an update in sort of understanding what the progress is in a particular sort of domain. In this particular case is Cardano, and these are basically snippets from the end of 2020 end of year what's the word, product update. So I'm going to be doing a series of these. I've sort of chopped them up, and yeah, again, this is, you know, early days, so bear with me as I basically, you know, start to figure this out. But anyways, yeah, so here we're going to be talking about Cardano 2021, the approach to Africa specifically, right? Identity pilots, and I suppose the overall timeline, and yeah, in that approach. So yeah, we're going to be listening to John O'Connor, who's basically sort of leading. He's been based in Ethiopia for a number of years now, and yeah, in this particular clip, he's going to be just talking about the approach to identity and sort of the fun stuff and the not so fun stuff that kind of needs to be done to be able to execute this fundamental element when it comes to, you know, realizing the potential of identity in the context of crypto, and I suppose in the context of Cardano specifically. So let's see, I'll just come over here and hide that and start that.
To say is that it really is not a short road. You know, we're starting off with building a very fundamental network infrastructure which allows a set of capabilities, but smart contracts alone are not enough to build a loan platform to offer farmers credit in Ethiopia or in Kenya. So it's the building block that we need. We need a smart contract scripting language. We need a way to be able to transfer value, but still you've got to work to build even some of the boring stuff. So regulatory reporting tools to be able to have licenses within the country, connecting up capital from, you know, the US or the UK towards these markets. So there's a whole bunch of stuff which isn't super exciting, isn't super interesting, but you need to do to actually create the value that we discuss. So I think that when we talk about the timeline, you know, for me and for us, I think that our real focus next year should be on scaling usage of the identity product, working on some real and significant pilots to start to move into the financial inclusion space and loan provision and insurance provision, and then taking those lessons within maybe a particular country or two, and then scaling that out into a product which can be used in more countries. So it's a multi-year roadmap, but you know, that's okay. I think that there's a lot of value in these technologies, and if you can get it right, you know, if you can connect up capital more fluidly across the world, and enable loan and insurance provision at lower costs and more efficiently, you know, these are trillion-dollar markets. So I don't think you need to do it all in a year, but you need to be on the right path.
Yeah. So, in a way, in a nutshell, that's I suppose the approach. There are a few other videos of him, so I'll just sort of gradually trying to figure out which ones make sense to sort of highlight. But I like this one because he sort of communicates quite concisely, the upsides and downsides, and sort of pragmatically how they're approaching this quite important aspect of utility, right? Because if you think about identity, right, like it's such a key, such a core part of enabling all the services that then follow from there, right? From payments, being able to build up trust, credit, and so on, being able to lend money, be able to, I suppose, to some extent even invest, and have your savings in a better sort of vehicle. And it just opens up, even from an entrepreneurship standpoint, right? Someone in an environment which doesn't, have traditional banking or sort of structures, being able to, get, whether it's are they called micro loans, right? To just, go off and, do like a little proof of concept and, build up something bit by bit in a way that has risk mitigated. So so one of the things here obviously is to speak about is Atala, which already exists and is going to be sort of opened up in Q1 slash Q2. So by mid this year we should it should be out, and we should sort of be playing around with it and stuff. It would be nice if I actually had the URL at hand. I think it's atalaprism.io, right? So ATALAPRISM.io. For those who are who don't know about it just yet, go over and check it out. They have like a little nice breakdown of all the different use cases, from like they have this little city which you can interact with, and you can download the app, and sort of play around with it. And if you've got ideas, you can reach out to the team. There's like a little contact form on there that you can be able to reach them on. And I've actually spoken to them. They're quite a friendly bunch, and curious to actually get people talking to them about potential ideas that they want to implement, and having like such a close conversation with the folks who are the heart of implementing this particular solution is actually quite nice and quite potent. So I would advise folks to check it out. And one of the reasons actually that I didn't point out at the beginning of this particular recording or stream is I noticed that from a really crappy version of an update that I did, a lot of people really wanted to watch it. So so analytics are really helpful, and I feel like it's a good sort of feedback loop. But if you found this really interesting, I suppose if you feel like getting notifications through whatever apps, right? So it's streaming out to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, DLive, and we've got a Discord channel, a server as well, which has should have an update channel. I'll go and make one right now, where you can come over and have conversations about the structure, or the idea of the program, as well as just, I suppose, the latest sort of version or video that will be discussed, and and just give overall feedback to sort of cast programming on the different channels and stuff. So with that said, just I suppose I should have had the URL somewhere on here. So it's cast C AAAST .live, and on there you'll be able to have basically access to all the different social channels that I mentioned, as well as, more importantly, the ability to subscribe to the channel. Not to the channel. To subscribe to the calendar, right? Because, you know, in sort of true decentralized form, the idea here is not to be reliant on sort of third-party services like YouTube, who are notorious for unsubscribing people, for doing things like unsubscribing folks from YouTube channels, and not delivering notifications on time, etc. So yeah, so if you basically add the cast calendar to your calendar, you'll be able to, you know, prioritize it and see it right there, and yeah, be able to engage, you know, early days, you know, and be part of the day ones, the day oneers. Yeah, so yeah, in closing, I suppose to contextualize why you ought to consider you know, going to cast.live and, you know, checking it out and subscribing to or adding the calendar, so slash subscribing to it, is, you know, because this fundamental idea, or the fundamental idea that time is money and trust is wealth, right? So the idea here is to gradually get folks to make time and to build trust in the best way that crypto and its sort of incentive structures and the awesome community that, you know, the crypto environment has, and also just the cast community. Like, it's really small. It's laughably small, but it's really awesome and interesting. But anyway, I actually wasn't going to do this today because I felt like I wasn't ready, but I was like, man, you know what, just go ahead and do it. And yeah, I hope you found this helpful and useful, informative. Yeah, give me feedback. Thanks for your time. See you around.